Tonight's big ticket in London, HA9 ODW, is for the Wembley Conference Centre. A Masters semi-final between two of snooker's most popular entertainers has drawn a crowd that'll go ballistic when the players enter the arena.
It's a 12x6 table with crystal balls and a bit of wood, and we all get very excited over it. But you know, that's good for that people get excited. You know, if that's how they get their kicks, then great. And you know, I get mine in my sort of way, and hopefully, you know, they're happy and they enjoy themselves.
I was listening to Ronnie today saying, you know, the match, you know, win or lose is not that important to him because he's had a few demons to deal with, you know, and I'm very pleased. He's a good friend of mine that he's doing okay with himself. But tonight it's going to be a great battle. And when I was a kid, I used to love playing Higgins and bring in the crowds, and Ronnie brings in the crowds, I bring in the crowds, so hopefully it's going to be a classic.
Good evening. Ronnie O'Sullivan has had his moments down the years, but he's a chilled-out snooker player of late. His cue is like a magician's wand. Jimmy White, snooker's wild child throughout the 80s, and to be fair, for most of the 90s. The people love him for it. His brilliance around the table and his popularity has stood the test of time. These two players are the absolute business. The match prize, a place in the final of the Masters. Steve and John are here. Jimmy and Ronnie got quite a welcome.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the players. And first into the arena, the most popular individual sportsman England has ever produced. Snooker's favourite son is making his 10th final appearance at the Masters. Will you welcome, please, the wonderful whirlwind of London town, Jimmy White. Ladies and gentlemen, his multi-talented young opponent, cool, classy, and at times unbeatable. And when the rocket ignites, there's no finer player in the game. He's the reigning Welsh Open title holder. Will you welcome the former Embassy World Champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, Jimmy won the first frame. Ronnie responded in the second to deny Chinese star Ding Junhui the £10,000 highest break prize. Here's Ronnie en route to a 1-3-8. And John Parrott, this is absolutely what Ronnie is capable of.
Yeah, I think if I was one of the press boys holding a ticket for the Chinese boy with the highest break, I'd have been a bit worried as soon as I've seen Ronnie get in the balls, because quite a few players here this week have got onto the last red with quite high 100 breaks on the, you know, at their mercy, and just haven't finished the job off. So Ronnie did it tonight. I mean, there's no way really 118 is going to last, but a 1-3-8, fantastic.
Steve, what are your thoughts about this game? Two great players in action against each other.
Yes, well, it was a great response from Ronnie O'Sullivan after Jimmy had won the first frame in great style. I think there'll perhaps be a few more 100 breaks before the night's out. But Ronnie O'Sullivan, a master of break building, thoroughly deserved that high break. And that £10,000 will come in very handy.
Well, at stake, a place in the final of the Masters. It's the first to 6. It was 2-all at the mid-session interval. Inside the Grand Hall now. Frame 5 is still to be resolved. Good evening. Clive Everton and John Virgo are in the commentary box.
Good evening, Ray. Good evening, everyone. White leads 48 points to 9
Switch it off.
in the 5th frame, and is at the table courtesy of a very unexpected mistake from White, which brought his break of 44 to a close. missed the pink, concentrating on the cannon on the red to hold perfect position.
Yes, and from that opportunity, Ronnie has potted a red, black. There was two reds together near the top cushion. He tried to manoeuvre in possible positions, but it's come awkward. He's missed it.
Hit. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And he's left Jimmy White a chance to erase that careless mistake Jimmy
Sail
made
down,
on his
that'll do.
last visit when he missed the pink. It has to be said, the last few frames there are a few mistakes creeping in, but understandable, because I've never known an atmosphere like we've got in the Wembley Conference Centre that we've got here this evening. It is electric. Just this red needed.
7.
And that's it. That should be the frame to Jimmy White now.
Just for good measure, he develops
15.
the red
16.
from a safe position, so his earlier blunder is not going to matter.
$19. $19 and frame Jimmy White.
White leads by 3 frames to 2.
So as this match starts to sort of make a little bit of progress, your assessment, Stephen, what you've seen from both players so far?
Well, it was a very important frame before the interval. Obviously, we haven't seen that, but it's best to go live in this match. But Jimmy White did very well to win it, and that, I think, will probably buoy him up, and also ask the question of Ronnie O'Sullivan. If Jimmy White sticks with Ronnie O'Sullivan, every chance that Jimmy can do well. And now it's a different story entirely. 3-2 in front.
John, they know each other so well from down the years.
They do indeed know each other's games, and both very attacking. Interesting that even though it was 2-2 at the interval, Jimmy came in for virtually the entire interval. He had a practice on the table behind the studio here, so, you know, 2-2 was okay, but he wasn't happy with the way he was hitting. He came in and had a good practice.
Jimmy, the winner here 20 years ago. Where did that last 20 years go? But he seems to be so determined and focused this week. Nothing seems to be getting to him.
No, I think great players rise to a great occasion, and Jimmy White here at the conference centre thoroughly enjoys the accolades he gets as he walks out, and he loves playing in front of the big crowds. I think he loves to entertain, and in a way it will raise his own game. The fact that he's playing against one of, you know, I'm not saying he's his hero, but one of the great players who he admires, probably spurs him on even more. He would put this and value it very highly were he to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Fair to say, John, that Ronnie does have an extra gear all of a sudden.
He can do. I mean, we saw that with the second frame with 138 break. But both players are the same, really. Both can raise the game. It's interesting that that venue tonight, which is absolutely packed, is the best place in the world to play when you've got a game. But it can also be a horrible place when you haven't. But both players, thankfully, are in good form.
Of course, it's an interesting situation for Ronnie O'Sullivan, who comes into this match, probably won't have the majority of the crowd on his side, which is very unusual for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Jimmy's more used to it than Ronnie, so you can sort of forgive Ronnie for feeling a bit more subdued in the match. He's sort of not the villain, but certainly the player who's less the crowd favourite. I don't know exactly what the split is. Perhaps our commentators could actually sort of tell us their opinions on how they feel it's gone.
Well, back to the commentary box, because this is building up into, well, a potential classic, who knows?
In terms of support, I think the crowd is more pro-White than O'Sullivan. They've got nothing against O'Sullivan, but White is their favourite.
Well, that was a risky shot to take on. It was close, but